My coworker is mad because I speak multiple languages and tried to report me to the manager after I got together with her crush, but she failed and ended up getting fired instead. Recently, I started working at a cafe to support myself during university, and for the most part, everything has been fine, except it's very clear that my coworker Melanie doesn't like me. Her main issue with me is that I speak more than one language, and she hates it when I interact with customers in their native language. She always says things like, "Just speak Italian, they'll understand," or "Why are you trying to act special?" even though I know it actually makes customers more comfortable. I'm from Central Europe, and in my country, it's mandatory to learn multiple languages in school. I speak English, Spanish, German, and Dutch. Since this city gets a lot of tourists, I usually switch to whatever language the customer speaks if I know it. It had never been a problem until Melanie overheard me speaking in another language and accused me of being spoiled and some privileged little white girl. She said normal people don't speak that many languages and that my dad's money must have paid for it. I told her my family is very poor and I've never even met my father, but even so, she had no right to talk to me like that. She constantly tried to pick fights with me over it. When I asked another coworker why she acted this way, they admitted they suspected she might be racist, since she once said she felt betrayed that I hadn't told her I was Polish. Every chance she got, she told me it was disgusting how I refused to acknowledge my privilege. I only ever saw her at work because no one would willingly hang out with her. But one evening, I was invited out with my colleagues and didn't realize Melanie had also been invited. I tried to avoid her and stayed close to Marco, one of my coworkers I had a crush on. We spent almost the entire night together. Marco also speaks Spanish, and I found myself slipping Spanish words into our conversation. We laughed about how I sounded like a television character, and I really felt like we were bonding. That's when I realized he liked me back. A few days later, I found out Melanie also had a crush on Marco, which explained a lot about her behavior. She started playing games, asking me about the languages I spoke. She pretended to be impressed and pulled out Google Translate to test me with questions. I answered all of them, but when she switched to Spanish, I saw a light bulb go off in her head. It turned out she thought I was showing off by speaking Spanish with Marco, and she wanted to embarrass me. When I replied in Spanish, she cut me off mid-sentence and said she couldn't believe how awful my pronunciation was. She laughed at me and tried to get others to laugh too, which was really embarrassing. She said that after hearing my English, she thought my Spanish would be better. Marco and I just looked at each other, confused. I explained that my pronunciation wasn't wrong. I had just learned Spanish from watching Argentine soap operas, so my accent sounded like that. She accused me of lying, but Marco stepped in and told her that I really did speak with that accent and that my Spanish was excellent. Melanie told him not to pretend and said I just needed to accept I wasn't good at everything. I was stunned and then burst out laughing. I told her she shouldn't talk about things she knows nothing about and that she was just being a jerk. Later, I went home and Marco walked me back. He distracted me from the whole situation by chatting about random things. Talking with him felt so natural that I asked if he wanted to continue at my apartment. One thing led to another, and now I can say for sure that he feels the same way about me. The next day, Melanie showed up at my place to apologize, but they weren't really apologies at all.